what I have here is the initial version, at least, of the fish feeder. I have the little circuit board that comes with the stepper motor, which is the can't quite see it there. See if we can focus on that. Step motor. Anyway, it's the 28 BYJ 48 5V DC. 5V just happens to be what we get out of a USB plug, so I've taken a USB cable and I have soldered the positive and negative onto the two pins, which I don't have a connector. I'm sorry, I'm doing it on the cheap. So I've made a little cog gear here. Focus. This is just a camera mount, or sorry, camera mount, a motor mount. The motor is on there with two little bolts, and the cog, I glued a couple of pieces of extra perspex on the back of it, drilled a hole and used a self-tapping screw that screws onto the flat section of the stepper motor drive. Getting these gears to mesh with the rack of gears is not the easiest thing. So I've drawn a start on the wheel and a start on the cog on the rack, so I know which one to mesh with. I don't want to start there, I want to start with the two matching up at the beginning. You can still see quite a bit of dust from the perspex where I've been filing away to get the teeth to mesh nicely. So what I need to do is plug in power. It's been plugged in off screen on the PC. And then I have the MSP430. It's also going to be powered off USB, its own USB cable. And the way that I've written the program is to use the pins that are on the end of these female headers. Now you'll see these pins on the board, N1 through N4, mesh nicely into those female headers. And I just push it in like that. So now I've got that connected to the pins. I'll power up the MSP430. Oops, you can barely see what's going on here, so let me move you across. There we go. The red LED means that it's stopped. When I press the button, which unfortunately is underneath there, the green LED will come on and it will move the stepper motor. So it's powering the stepper motor, and we can see that from the LEDs on the board of the stepper motor. I get my finger in there. You can't quite see, but they're flashing across the four of them. And this is effectively a mesh test. This is the program where if I press the button it moves, and then if I stop moving I can see where the fish would be fed. So the holes match up, and I need to know how many more steps it'll take for the next hole to get over that hole, and then the next one, so that I'll know that's when the fish have been fed, and it'll stop and it'll start the next day and move on to feed them there. Now the stepper motor is making a bit of a tick 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 tick, and I think that's because it's not running. See, there's one of those places where the gears don't mesh. I'm pressing the button, you can't see, but it's trying to run the motor, but the motor's stalling because it's just a little bit stuck on one of these gears here. And that is the problem with this arrangement. The rack and pinion gears are particularly difficult to get working correctly. Much easier options are the threaded rod. Threaded rod is, well, because it's manufactured quite precisely, we don't have to make those gears or make the thread. But the problem with that is this motor runs far too slowly for that. It would take quite a long time to feed the fish that way. Another option would be to have a pulley on here and a belt driven back here, and the belt somehow attached to this, so that when it gets pulled along, this would pull the entire rack with it. So there are a number of options. This probably isn't the simplest, but I quite like the look of it. That's why I'm sticking with it. So we'll see if I can get this to work.